Good evening and welcome to the 636th episode of Travel Itch. I am Dan Schlossberg and we are in the 15th season of Travel Itch Radio, the show that lets you enjoy the pleasures of travel from the comfort of your armchair. Every week at this time, we talk to people representing destinations, hotels, airlines, railroads, car rental companies, and others in the world of travel and hospitalities, from authors and bloggers to broadcasters and publicists. If it's got anything to do with travel, it's got everything to do with Travel Itch. Our guest tonight is Juliana Thomas, Virginia Tourism. Welcome, Juliana, to Travel Itch Radio.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan. I'm so excited to be here and share a little bit about the Commonwealth.
Okay, maybe the best travel slogan in the country, Virginia is for lovers. I've been there many times and have fond memories of everywhere, from the resorts of Virginia Beach to historic Monticello, Colonial Williamsburg, and the DC suburbs of Arlington and Alexandria. But tell me, Juliana, with such a diverse wealth of places to see, how is Virginia celebrating America's 250th birthday?
I am so glad you led with that, Dan, because Virginia is really the epicenter of America's story. So the semi-quincentennial, which I just love saying that word, by the way, it's a huge opportunity for us. More than half of the key events of the American Revolution happened right here in Virginia, including the decisive victory in Yorktown. So through Virginia American Revolution 250, or VA 250, as we call it, visitors can experience everything from special exhibits and commemorative events to immersive programs at historic sites. But one of my favorite initiatives that launched earlier this, or I guess it actually launched back in the fall, ahead of the 250th year, is our VA 250 passport program. And so this is just a booklet, paper passport that you can pick up at several of our key historic sites, as well as any of our official Virginia welcome centers across the Commonwealth. And it's completely free. You just pick it up and it's just like any other passport. You go to each of these historic destinations that's listed inside and you get your passport stamped. And it just really encourages both Virginians and visitors to get out there and explore Virginia's history and our historic sites across the Commonwealth. And that includes museums and battlefields and historic attractions statewide, everything. And as you go along the way, you can receive different discounts at certain properties, or I think if you complete your passport, you can submit it and be entered to win some really big prizes. So pretty exciting initiative, I think. And then, of course, with July 4th, looming so closely, we've got a big bash planned at Colonial Williamsburg for that. PBS will be on site broadcasting. So just a lot of stuff. And we've been hosting events for, I guess, the past 2 years leading up to this. So we've been going strong for a while and we're not slowing down anytime soon.
In addition to America's 250th, the state has plenty of its own anniversaries. I love trains, so let's start with the 125th anniversary of the Main Street train station in Richmond. Isn't it a Beaux-Arts landmark that is known for its clock tower and dating back to 1901?
You got it, Dan. That's exactly right. Main Street Station is one of Richmond's most recognizable landmarks. And it's just a stunning work of architecture in general. And today it serves Amtrak passengers and also is a wonderful destination for hosting large events. And just really giving visitors a glimpse into Richmond's rich railroad heritage, which I know you know all about. But we also have a Virginia Welcome Center, part of Virginia Tourism, on site, and that welcomes travelers to Richmond and hand out brochures and just assist with any traveler questions or arrangements that they might need.
And since we're talking railroad history, aren't there several railroad museums in the state?
You got it, Dan. So we've got Railroad Museum of Virginia in Portsmouth. We've got a Richmond Railroad Museum in Richmond, of course, and the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke. So lots of options for train enthusiasts in Virginia. But while I'm on the topic of train enthusiasts, if you're a train person, you will love the town of Ashland, Virginia, which is just north of Richmond, up 95, which calls itself the center of the universe. They have train tracks running right through the middle of town. The train station is right in the middle of town. You can sit on a restaurant patio or a cafe and just watch the trains roll by, watch Amtrak passengers, disembark or embark. and just enjoy the charming small town vibe. So and they also have a train store like just a couple blocks down the street as well. So put that on your list if it's not already.
And you've already mentioned Colonial Williamsburg. This is a 100th anniversary, and it looks much older than it actually is. I know it's the world's largest outdoor museum. What does that have to do with John D. Rockefeller?
Sure. So many people don't necessarily realize that while Williamsburg itself dates back to the 18th century, the restoration effort began in 1926. And so that was thanks to philanthropist John D. Rockefeller Jr., along with Reverend Dr. Goodwin, who was the rector of Bruton Parish Church in Williamsburg, to restore the town to its 18th century appearance. So again, 1926 is when they took that on. But their vision really helped preserve and recreate what has become the world's largest living history museum. And today, visitors can just step directly into the Revolutionary era through their immersive programming and historic trades and costumed interpreters who are walking all around you all through town.
And another 100th anniversary is the Hampton Cup Regatta planned for Labor Day weekend. Tell our audience about it, please.
Sure. So it is North America's oldest continuously run hydroplane boat race, which is bringing racing action and family-friendly activities to Fort Monroe Labor Day weekend. That also dates back to 1926, since we're on the 100th anniversary theme. And the event remains one of the most prestigious courses on the American Powerboat Association circuit, and it attracts top hydroplane racers from around the world.
Maymont is a public park and museum that is also marking 100 years this year, celebrating by reopening the Dewey Mansion and expanding the Virginia Wildlife Trail. And I love animals, so tell us about it.
Yes, so Maymont is an absolute gem right in the middle of Richmond. And in fact, I was just there on Friday night for a concert. So while you've got this amazing historic mansion that just reopened this spring after undergoing a renovation, they also have these beautiful Italian gardens and Japanese gardens and a children's petting zoo, children's farm, but has like the petting zoo component with it. Again, the Virginia Wildlife Trail, they have a wildlife center on site where you can experience Virginia wildlife, right there in the center. It just has something for everyone. And it's just, again, truly a gym. You can just, if you want to go to the park one day, just go to Maymont and go with your family or friends or bring a picnic. Or again, a lot of times on weekend evenings, they'll have special concerts and things going on too.
And we're talking all things Virginia with Juliana Thomas. Virginia calls itself Mother of Presidents for good reason. Wasn't it the birthplace of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, and other presidents? And are their homes open for visitation?
Yes, sir. You got it. All of those are correct. We're very proud to be known as the Mother of Presidents because 8 U.S. presidents were born in Virginia. So you can tour George Washington's Mount Vernon in Fairfax County. You can tour Thomas Jefferson's Monticello in Charlottesville. You've got James Madison's Montpelier. That might be my favorite because I graduated from James Madison University. Go Dukes. You've got James Monroe's Highland, several other presidential sites. So these aren't just museums. I think about it. They're places that you or I can walk today, but they're the same grounds where, former American presidents walked and lived. So it's really neat to just have that window into their lives and into the past.
Well, Jefferson was an architect who left a great legacy, Monticello and the University of Virginia. Let's talk about that a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas Jefferson's influence on Virginia, it's hard to overstate, right? Monticello and the University of Virginia are both UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And in fact, UVA is the only university in the US to hold that prestigious honor, as far as I'm aware. Both of them reflect Jefferson's vision as an architect and a statesman and an innovator. He was also really passionate about viticulture, which not everyone knows. But Virginia is often called the birthplace of American wine, and that is thanks to Jefferson. Now, Jefferson was never successful, with his wine harvest initially, but he kind of set the course for others to come after him and make it successful as it is today. So we like to credit him with that, as we have 300 wineries across Virginia today, and many of them are located in the Charlottesville area where Jefferson lived.
The expansion of the Norfolk Botanical Garden is called the Garden of Tomorrow. Sounds like something Walt Disney might have conceived.
I love the Walt Disney comparison. It just really evokes that sense of imagination and innovation that is behind this project, Dan. What makes the Garden of Tomorrow so exciting is it's not just about creating a bigger botanical garden, but it's creating a living laboratory for the future, I would say. The project includes a stunning new conservatory that's going to showcase rare and endangered plants from around the world, a new environmental education center focused on hands-on learning, shoreline restoration projects. They have a dramatic elevated skywalk overlooking one of the East Coast's largest rose gardens. And then my personal favorite is a permanent glass art installation by renowned artist Dale Chihuly. So very excited for all of that. But really, the entire visitor experience has been designed to connect people with conservation, sustainability, and connect them to the natural world in new ways, really. As far as I can tell, it's one of the most ambitious garden projects like in the US right now. But on that note, it's really a big year in Virginia for botanical gardens because here in the Richmond region, we have Lewis Ginter Botanical Garden, and they just completed a 2-year expansion project, which nearly doubled the size of the existing conservatory. It added 7.5 acres of new gardens and incorporated an additional lake into the garden experience. So lots of exciting garden news here in Virginia right now.
And there's something new and exciting in Lynchburg, a new amphitheater at Riverfront Park, which will attract national touring acts.
Yes, it's so exciting to see destinations across Virginia continuing to invest in attractions that enhance the quality of life for residents while also drawing in visitors. And so, yes, exactly. Lynchburg's Riverfront Park Amphitheater is a great example of that. It's located right along the James River in the heart of downtown. And the venue is going to host concerts and festivals and community events and helping bring even more energy into the city's growing riverfront district. And Lynchburg has really done an impressive job of revitalizing its downtown in recent years. And this amphitheater is just, the cherry on top.
And later this summer, the Greater Williamsburg Sports and Events Center will open, along with Browns Island in Richmond after a major facelift.
Sure. So 2 very different projects, but they both speak to Virginia's continued investment and experiences that bring people together. So the Greater Williamsburg Sports and Events Center will help strengthen Virginia's position as a premier sports tourism destination. The facility will host tournaments and competitions and special events that bring athletes and their families from all over the country to Williamsburg. So that's going to create economic impact while also introducing visitors to everything the region has to offer. And that is set to open later this month, still in June. And then so here in Richmond, we've got Browns Island, which has been one of the city's most beloved gathering places. They've always been known for hosting major festivals and concert series and outdoor events like River Rock, also along the James River. And so the current improvements that are underway right now will enhance the visitor experience and ensure that our iconic riverfront venue continues to be a centerpiece of Richmond's outdoor and cultural scene.
And we'd like to hear about the Williamsburg African American Heritage Trail, which is new this year. Isn't it more than 2 miles long?
It sure is. And so it's going to connect visitors to landmark sites that already exist in the city of Williamsburg, but it's going to highlight the lesser known Williamsburg specific narratives about the African American culture and stories there. And that is set to officially debut next week on Juneteenth.
Something named the Bottoms Up Beverage Trail has to be included in the show. Is it true patrons can purchase a digital passport that includes a dozen wineries and breweries?
You got that right, Dan. Before we started, I know we were both talking about how hot it is and is going to continue to be. It's like 97 degrees in Richmond right now, I think. So I could definitely go for a cold drink from the Bottoms Up Beverage Trail. But this trail winds its way through Front Royal and Warren County and Berryville and Clark County. And it offers a digital passport, which visitors can check in at the participating wineries and breweries, cideries, meaderies, and discover the local flavors while earning digital stamps that they can cash in for prizes.
Well, there are plenty of places to cool off in Virginia. Here's one of them.
That's great.
I love that. Okay, we're talking all things Virginia with Juliana Thomas. Juliana, a one-time bank has turned into a hotel in downtown Roanoke, but the biggest news there is the opening of the Exchange Music Hall, which has 1,200 seats. That should really put Roanoke on the map.
Yes. Well, Dan, I would say Roanoke has been on the map for a long time as one of Virginia's great mountain destinations. But what we're seeing now is a real expansion into the arts, entertainment, and hospitality offerings. And so, yes, this conversion of the downtown bank building into a boutique hotel and a concert venue is just a great example of Roanoke's creativity in preserving its historic architecture and creating new visitor experiences. So the new Exchange Music Hall just adds a new exciting dimension to the city. They opened in January on New Year's Day, actually. They host national touring acts, concerts, live performances, and just gives folks yet another reason to plan a getaway to Virginia's Blue Ridge.
And speaking of maps, wasn't Jamestown the first English settlement in the New World and the place where Captain John Smith met Pocahontas?
It sure was, even though the historically accurate version of that story is not the same as the Disney movie. But yes, you got it right.
Okay, why are Jamestown, Yorktown, and Williamsburg called the Historic Triangle?
Sure. The Historic Triangle gets its name from the geographical layout and the profound historical significance of Jamestown, Williamsburg, and Yorktown. So if you trace a map connecting those three destinations, they form a triangle on the Virginia Peninsula. But together, these towns also represent the birth, growth, and independence of early America. Jamestown, of course, represents the first permanent English settlement. Williamsburg was Virginia's colonial capital. And then Yorktown was the site of the decisive Revolutionary War victory that secured American independence.
And you're listening to Travelwitch Radio with Dan Schlossberg. Find the archive show on YouTube, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, X, and Facebook. And we're talking all things Virginia with Juliana Thomas. Juliana, there's so much to see and do in Virginia, but I love the historic flavor of Alexandria right outside Washington, D.C.
Yes, Dan. So in destination marketing, we're not supposed to have favorites, but I have to say Old Town Alexandria is one of my favorites. It's one that I go to when I want to take a long weekend getaway. It's consistently recognized as one of the best small cities in America. You've got the cobblestone streets. You've got all the shopping up and down King Street, just beautifully preserved architecture, local boutique shops, wonderful restaurants, and the beautiful waterfront right along the Potomac River. And it just seamlessly blends history with kind of modern energy. So you can spend the morning exploring sites that are connected to George Washington. They've got the Gadsby Tavern and again, just so many historic sites that have been preserved. They've got a farmer's market that George Washington literally used to bring things from Mount Vernon to sell at the farmer's market that it continues to this day. But then you can also go enjoy a rooftop cocktail or waterfront dinner in the exact same place. And it's also just minutes from Washington, D.C., so it's very convenient for visitors.
And as long as we're mentioning important places that start with the letter A, how about Arlington National Cemetery, which is even closer to the nation's capital?
It sure is, Dan. And Arlington National Cemetery is truly one of the most moving and meaningful places, not just in Virginia, but I would say anywhere. As you and probably all of your listeners are aware, it serves as the final resting place for more than 400,000 service members, veterans, and their families, and just offers a really powerful reminder of the sacrifices that have shaped our nation to be what it is today. But at Arlington, visitors can witness the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. You can visit President John F. Kennedy's gravesite and the Eternal Flame, and just take in some really breathtaking views overlooking Washington, D.C.
I love driving on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, visible from Virginia Beach, and considered one of the architectural wonders of the world. How about you?
Absolutely, Dan. It for sure lives up to its name as an engineering wonder of the world. It stretches more than 17 miles across the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay, and it connects Virginia's eastern shore with coastal Virginia, for anyone who's not aware, just through a remarkable combination of bridges, trestles, and underwater tunnels. And for many visitors, the drive itself becomes part of the vacation experience, not just the journey. You're literally surrounded by this open water. Ships pass overhead while you're going through the tunnels, and the views are just incredible.
And speaking of Virginia Beach, that statue of Neptune guarding the beach has got to be one of the most photographic sights in the state.
King Neptune is definitely one of Virginia Beach's most iconic landmarks. And honestly, I would guess one of the most photographed attractions in the entire Commonwealth. The bronze statue stands 34 feet tall and overlooks the boardwalk at 31st Street. And it was created by Virginia sculptor Paul D. Pascal and depicts Neptune rising from the sea alongside dolphins, sea turtles, and octopus figures. Visitors tend to make it their first stop when they arrive at the oceanfront because how could you not? It's so recognizable. And then a fun fact to share is visitors to Richmond can actually see a smaller replica of the King Neptune statue created by D. Pascal, and that's at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts right here in Richmond in their sculpture garden.
And so that statue is just 3 feet shorter than the Green Monster at Fenway Park.
Of course you would have that memorized, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would. Okay, there's other news coming from Virginia Beach. The opening of the Sitio, a 20-room boutique hotel with lagoon views that just opened a few months ago.
Yes, it sure did. It opened this spring at Virginia Beach's Atlantic Park development. And so it's a contemporary coastal hotel. It features an elevated pool and deck, and it has lagoon views of the adjacent surf park. So there's Atlantic Park Surf that opened last year. And so it's part of that development. And you can book concierge surf experiences right there on site.
If a Virginia visitor wants to get a boat ride on Chesapeake Bay, what do you recommend?
There are so many different options. It just depends on what you're looking for. You could book a dolphin watching cruise in Virginia Beach. You could do a sailing excursion out of Norfolk. You could do sightseeing cruises all around Hampton Roads, or you could charter a fishing trip on the Chesapeake Bay. Just whatever your desire, you can probably do it in Virginia.
And speaking of water, there's an indoor water park adjacent to the new Massanutten Resort, a new 140-room property.
Yes, so the Massanutten Resort is out in the Shenandoah Valley, right outside of Harrisonburg. And so they have had an indoor-outdoor water park for a number of years. Fun fact, that was actually one of my college summer jobs because I grew up out that way at the water park. And so they are building a brand new hotel right adjacent to the water park. And then they're also expanding the water park options as well. So exciting stuff.
And we're talking all things Virginia with Juliana Thomas. Sail 250 will bring tall ships from all over the world to the Port of Virginia as part of Sail 250 America. We hear it's going to involve 60 ships from 20 countries. Pretty good.
Yes, so exciting. In fact, it actually kicks off this weekend. So we've got a fleet of the world's most magnificent international tall ships and military ships coming in just this epic peacetime gathering. They're going to sail into the Port of Virginia. I guess some of them have already sailed into it. In fact, they should be on their way to Richmond and Yorktown and some of our other affiliate harbors already. But it's one of the marquee events of VA 250, of our America 250 celebration. It's going to bring 10,000 officers, cadets, and crews for more than 60 ships, as you mentioned, from 20 nations. That are coming, and visitors can buy tickets to go on board and tour the ships and attend waterfront festivals and just experience maritime history firsthand in a way that you normally can't.
And with July 4th just a couple of weeks away, the Virginia American Revolution 250 Commission has a long list of planned celebrations, including 4th of July at Colonial Williamsburg and the VA 250 Passport Program, available for pickup at any welcome center. I'd especially like to hear about Out of Many One, part of Virginia's mobile museum experience.
Absolutely. So our mobile museum, it's literally just a museum on wheels. It brings artifacts and interactive exhibits and compelling stories directly to Virginia communities, just across the Commonwealth. And it makes history more accessible and engaging for residents and visitors alike. If you go to va250.org, you can check out the schedule and follow along, and you can figure out where you can make your plans to go check it out.
With all that's going on this summer, I hope the Richmond Flying Squirrels are not overlooked. They opened a new ballpark in April, and it hosts a lot more than just baseball.
That's right. And you do not have to worry about it being overlooked, Dan. Us Richmonders love our Richmond Flying Squirrels, and the new CarMax Park is just incredible. I'd asked you before we went on air, if since you're such a big Braves fan, if you'd ever come to a Richmond Braves game. But the Richmond Braves and then the Flying Squirrels played in the Diamond for many years. And CarMax Park is quite the upgrade from that. So very exciting. And in fact, I think I even saw this morning that there's a couple that's going to get married either tonight or tomorrow night at home plate.
Oh, great.
Of the ball field. So that seems really fun. They're going to have their reception at the ballpark during the game.
Okay, the best park in the state and maybe the whole country has to be Shenandoah National Park. I've driven the Blue Ridge Parkway and it's so photogenic, a great place for a quiet summer getaway.
Well, as a native of the Shenandoah Valley, I'm probably biased, but yes, the Shenandoah National Park is truly one of America's best treasures, in my opinion. The Skyline Drive offers 105 miles of breathtaking mountain views and hiking trails, waterfalls, wildlife views, and just opportunities to disconnect and recharge. So if you're looking to embrace a screen-free summer, S&P is the spot to do it.
And there's so many other things we need to mention. The new Wildlife Retreat in Halifax County, Virginia's first JW Marriott in Reston Station, even a luxury glamping experience at Camp Yellow Cardinal with its geodesic dome campsites, complete with hot tubs, fire pits, and king-size beds.
Yes, we've definitely got lots of unique new and upcoming lodging experiences. So as you mentioned, the first JW Marriott in Virginia opened last fall. So that was an exciting new addition to Virginia's hotel portfolio. And then we've got the newly opened Wild Manor, where guests can experience the thrill of close but safe encounters with exotic wildlife. So think giraffes, African penguins, ruffled lemurs, flamingos, and more. I still have not been there yet, but it is on my to-do list for sure. All at a luxury bed and breakfast in South Boston, Virginia. Sounds just incredible. And then on the luxury glamping side, as you mentioned, Camp Yellow Cardinal is set to open this fall. They're located just 30 minutes outside of Richmond in Prince Edward County, which is heading out toward the Farmville area. It's named for the lucky bird that is known for occasional sightings in the American South. And it's, as you mentioned, it's going to feature these dome campsites with hot tubs and king-size beds and fire pits. But something that's unique about it is it's meant to be a couples and a romantic retreat. So that's why they only have king-size beds, because the thought is like it's meant to just be a couples only retreat.
And Juliana, let's not forget there's a very popular branch of the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum just outside Dulles Airport in Reston.
Yes, absolutely. So that is the Smithsonian's Udvar Hazy Center in Chantilly. It's incredible. It's home to thousands of aviation and space artifacts, including the Space Shuttle Discovery. There was some drama around if that was going to go to Texas or not, but we still have it in Virginia for now. And then the SR-71 Blackbird and the Enola Gay. So even if you visited the Smithsonian Museums in Washington, this is a totally different experience. It's worth the detour from DC.
Got to mention Enola Gay. My cousin Stephen Macht, who's an actor, starred in a movie called Enola Gay about the dropping the atomic bomb.
No way! Oh, that's so cool.
And his son is Gabriel Macht, who starred in Suits. My cousin.
Okay, amazing. Love it.
Okay, before we close, we almost missed a 101st anniversary of the annual pony swim at Chincoteague Island. Please, I knew I'd guess that one wrong. Anyway, please tell our viewers about that. I'm just horsing around anyway.
Oh, so good. So good. So the pony swim is one of Virginia's most beloved traditions. As you mentioned, last year was the big 100th anniversary, but 101st, we're still going strong. But every summer, the famous Chincoteague ponies swim between Assateague and Chincoteague Islands, and they draw visitors from around the world. And this became really popular. I guess I can't remember what the time frame was when Misty of Chincoteague, the book, was written, but really helped kind of popularize the Chincoteague ponies, even more so than they already were. But yeah, it's just a really special event out on Virginia's Eastern Shore that you should put it on your bucket list and do it at some point.
And let's not forget Kalahari Resort in Spotsylvania opening in November.
Yes, we are so excited about this. This will be Kalahari's 5th resort. So it's opening this November, and they're going to have over 175,000 square feet of indoor water park fun, 900 family-friendly rooms, and a massive convention center, plus I don't even remember how many on-site restaurants. It's just going to be fabulous and a wonderful family-friendly destination for everyone in the DMV metro area and neighboring cities and from all over. So get ready for November.
And we have to mention the Boar's Head Resort in Charlottesville, a historic property with a culinary program bringing in creative and innovative chefs from around the world for the Birdwood Mansion's dining room.
Yes. So Birdwood Mansion is a 19th century estate that opened this spring as a luxury 7-room, so very small, 7-room boutique hotel on the Boar's Head Resort property. And it was initially constructed between 1819 and 1830. And it just presents this new wonderful experience on the Boar's Head property. But then going on the dining piece, so they've got the dining room at Birdwood Mansion, which has a 42-seat restaurant and showcases a lot of seasonal menus that showcase local Charlottesville area ingredients. But the really unique part is that they're hosting a rotating guest resident chef program. And so that's going to, actually, it's already started, and it's showcasing the diverse culinary talents, techniques, and innovation of visiting guest chefs from all over the world.
And unfortunately, we're out of time, but really quickly, is there anything I haven't asked you'd like to add?
Oh my goodness. I think just whether you love history or outdoor adventure or culinary experiences or wine, beaches, mountains, sports, luxury travel, you'll find something you love here in Virginia. And especially with the America 250 celebrations underway, this is just a really unique opportunity to experience the places where our nation's story began. So come see us in Virginia.
Okay, our guest this evening on Travel Itch has been Juliana Thomas of Virginia Tourism. Thank you, Juliana, for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Dan. This was a blast.
Okay, for me too. And that's it for this edition of Travel Itch. We're back next week to talk about the Outer Banks of North Carolina with Aaron Toole. Same time, same station. Now, this is Dan Schlossberg saying thank you for your time this time. Until next time, good night.